Hey, thank you for coming back. And today I'd like to talk to you about something that's something different than I normally do. And as you can already tell from the picture and the title of the video, it's a heat shrink tubing kit. One of the first things I want to show you is you get a heat gun, and it even says heat gun right there. And it has this nice little metal thing to fold out so it can prop up on the desk or flat surface. Of course, the red part is where the hot air is coming out. You get the on and off switch. And of course you get a nice little power cord. I wish it was about another foot longer, but that's okay. Now you do get a whole bunch of heat tubing in this kit, and unfortunately they come in these little packages like this that you're gonna have to buy your own little container to put them into, or you can probably just keep them in there. You do get some instructions, even how to use the heat tool. Comes in a bag like that, and pretty much the heat gun comes in a generic box. Everything comes into like a big cheap plastic bag like this. Now, the one good thing about it, I guess you can say, is this. I got to put this on the back so you can read it. On the main envelope, they actually tell you what kind of tubes you're getting and the sizes and all that good stuff. So at least they give you that. I wish it would have been maybe printed on each one of these little individual thingies, but you can't have everything, right? Now, the heat shrink tubing is 2-to-1. So, essentially, let me get a good one here that looks... you see how they shrink to half the size of the diameter. So, see the diameter, how big the circle is? It's going to shrink to like half that size, allegedly. The gun itself is 300 watts, and it does get really hot, so you don't want to get it too close to your skin or anything that's flammable. And it's only like about maybe a 2.5 foot cable cord that you get, so you are probably going to have to use an extension cord. Don't use those real cheap brown and white ones with the multiple outlets. Go ahead and get like a nice outside one, you know, those nice big orange ones. You can even find those in 3 and 5 foot, because they're going to handle a lot more power than those cheapy ones. Now, I do have this plugged into my Anchor power outlet here, and there we go. Let me turn it on. And I'm going to give you a quick listen. Air gets sucked in here, comes out here. It takes, there you go, that's what it sounds like. It takes maybe about a good 5 seconds for this thing to kind of get up to temperature. They got a little bit of knurling on here, so it feels a little bit of grippy, but it's an ABS plastic type material. It's I wouldn't say ABS. It's more the brittle type plastic, but I don't see that heating up very well to melt this part anyway, so try not to drop it on a hard surface. Right now I'm going to give you some pictures and stuff like that, and then I'm going to show this in action with some of these heat tubing things so you can see how it shrinks up. I'm not going to use it on wire. I'm just going to put 2 pens in there and then show you the thing shrinking, and you can take it from there. All right, so here's, I guess you want to call it the test video right now. Okay, now to kind of give you an example about the heat shrink tubing, I got 2 pens in here. And if you look kind of closely, it's a little bright right here in the center. It's because I left a little bit of space. Let's see if this is going to work. Got the heat gun right here. Just pay attention. Alrighty, you seen how it shrunk right here in the center? And the pens are not as easy to pull apart. That's the heat gun and heat shrink tubing in action. Okay, I hope you really enjoyed that video. The test video, that is, of seeing this thing in action. Now, you can use even first of all, you can use the gun more than just for this heat shrinking stuff, tubing stuff. If you're a hobbyist, you can use it for that, to dry some glue on some items of that nature. It's great, like, say this was glass or metal or something, and you got a sticker on there and it's hard to get off. You turn this on, heat it up, and that will make the adhesive a little bit more pliable. So it's a little bit easier to get stickers off of things of that nature. Yeah, if you hold it a little bit further away, say like you're painting little models, if you hold this a little bit further away, like maybe closer to a foot. Let me see something. Yeah, it's still pretty warm around, a good distance away. You can use that to maybe help cure your paint a little bit more. There's a good couple uses for this thing. If something is frozen and you want it to unfreeze, maybe, I don't know. But it's a lot better than, there's a little bit more uses than for this heat shrink tubing. Now, the reason why I got it is because I do a lot of soldering. And, when you do wires, you bare the wires, you connect them together. Of course, you got to put the tubing on first. Connect the wires, solder them together, take this stuff over to where you just soldered the wires, and you shrink it over it to add extra protection so there's no short circuiting of that nature. You can also use this. I wish I would have had one ready, but I kind of forgot to do it. You know what, as a matter of fact, hold on a second. Okay. I should have had one of these ready, but I didn't. Sorry about that. But like on usually cables like these, this is the first one I was able to grab. So right around in here is the weakest point. And even on this side here. So one of the things you can do is you can get a heat shrink tube that'll go over either this side or this side, you preferably the smaller of the two, and slip it down, because if this starts cracking in here, you could put one of these tubes right over here. You would put it kind of like up into this part right here and have the tube coming down, heat shrink it, and that way it would add some stability, a little bit more strength and stability to the weakest part of the cable. You don't even have to wait until you start seeing a crack in here. If you wanted to play it safe and say, well, I want my cable to last a lot longer, as soon as you get something like these, you can slip a tube on over it. Like I said, you would want to have it starting like right around in here and ending maybe about there, or however long the tube is, And then you heat shrink it, And that'll add extra protection right here at the weakest part of the cable so it won't crack or split. Okay. So there's that too for all this heat shrinking tubes. And you do get some pretty good big sizes here. Let me hold this up again, and if you want to see some of the sizes that you get with this kit, there you go. I don't know how well that's going to come out. Right now, I would say go ahead and pause the video, and then you can see the sizes better. And it's 328 pieces of this, and I'm thinking this is included too, of all of these tubes. So you get a good amount, and it is a good versatile little tool. If you never used heat shrink tubes before or a heat gun, I would say practice with it first to make sure you know what you're doing before you try to, say, put together, cover your cable or an exposed wire or something of that nature. Get some of that, get some practice in first and see what happens. Now, yes, of course, I got this from TEMU. And it was really dirt cheap, and I was like, I'll give it a try, and let's see how good this thing really works. Now, I'm going to give you a bit of advice to do if you're going to get anything like this that you got to plug in from TEMU. Get a good power strip, something maybe like this that I reviewed for you from Anchor, or one of those nice little power strips that you can buy from the store. Make sure, one of the important things is make sure it actually has an on and off switch. There's a reason for that. Okay, you plug in your power strip, you plug this or whatever it is that you have that actually runs off of your electricity from the house. You plug this into the power strip, but make sure the power strip is turned off first. Okay, once that's all connected, turn the power strip on. Give it a second or two for the power to make sure that it's all built up and everything's running to the device that you are going to test. Then turn it on. Well, let it run. I let this thing run for about 8 to 10 minutes before I shut it off. The reason why you want to do that is if something in here isn't wired correctly or if it's shorting out, it's going to trip your power strip and not your circuit breaker and or fuse, depending upon what your house has. So you won't have to run downstairs into the basement and figure out what's wrong and turn it on. Also, because it's going to trip this, it's a less chance of a fire hazard. So if it does trip your power strip, you already know that this thing is going to be defective. And I wouldn't even try a second attempt. I mean, it's a small price to pay to have some kind of power strip that can trip if this thing is defective. Then you burning down your house or setting a little bit of a fire here or you burning yourself or getting electrocuted or something. I would rather spend the 10, 15 bucks or whatever it is on one of these power strips, not necessarily this one, than to go through all that other stuff. Okay? Because sometimes if you were to just plug this into the wall, turn it on, and it trips your breaker of the house, some people may not remember to turn this off or unplug it before they go downstairs to reset the breaker. And then either the breaker is going to pop again, trip again, and you're going to keep doing it, wondering what the hell is wrong with everything. You could start a fire that way. You could wear out the breaker. You could even get electrocuted from the breaker if you keep trying to turn it on and off too many times because it overheats, it breaks down on the inside. There's a lot that could happen. So my personal advice is anything that you have to plug into the main electricity from your house, get a power strip with an on and off switch to test these products out. Also, if you noticed in those pictures that I put up there earlier, it says don't let this run for more than 10 minutes. That's probably because they're not using the best of plastics, and it probably after 10 minutes will probably start melting this thing. Oh, there's another idea I just had in my head. If you happen to buy some candles and you like the little glass part that's left over, and say the candle is already burnt out and there's a lot of wax, instead of you maybe pouring hot water into the glass globe or whatever you want to call it to get the wax out, you can probably use this to start melting the wax first to get as much out as you can before you do the water trick. See? Another usage for this. Okay, so not only did I give you a review of this heat shrink tubing kit, but I also gave you a safety tip, and I really hope you pay attention to that safety tip. Anything from TEMU, I would definitely use a power strip that, like this, that I know will trip first before my housebreaker will. It's just for safety, folks. So I'm not trying to say they sell junk on TEMU, which I bet they probably do, but so far I have not really run into too many items like that. So if you're into soldering or maybe some do-it-yourselfers, you know, some arts and crafts type thing, you may want to look into this heat shrink tubing kit. There's also places on there where you can actually get just a heat gun if you want. So is it worth it? Right now, I'm going to say yeah. I mean, it was under 10 bucks. I think it was like $8.50. So to me, it was worth it. I do a lot of stuff where I'm going to use this tubing and this thing. So yeah, I think it's worth it for me at least. For you, you're going to have to decide that. Okay, sorry that this video is rambling on and on and on. It's a lot longer than I thought it would be. But I really wanted to get that safety tip out for you about using a power strip to check anything that runs off of your electricity from the house, from your main electricity source, okay? So if you happen to like this video, please give it that thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget about that notification bell. It would really help me out a lot if you were to share this video and maybe a few more of my others on all of your social media. And until the next video, you, your friends, your family, and yes, even all of your pets, you all have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.